What's up? We're back on the channel. You're watching the Dilio T2K YouTube channel. I'm Dilio. Thank you so much for watching. All that good stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, all that drill. I just got back from the gym and I'm feeling good and I'm starting to reply to some of these questions now. Just for context, I put out a video and asking, hey, what do you guys need help with? What are your problem points? What is the challenges that you're dealing with? And you guys came and you delivered, and I appreciate that. So there's a lot, there's a lot of content on here we can talk about and do. And I'm continuing to do these type of videos while I get ready to build up and rebuild my system. But again, my intent is to coach if I can help out, if I can just provide some sort of feedback or some information and all that stuff. So thank y'all so much for commenting on that video. And this is just for my YouTube creators and stuff like that. Listen, like that video didn't get a lot of views, right? But it did get probably very important feedback from the community that actually views me and stuff like that. So, those who commented on that video, they were the ones that was supposed to comment. I'm gonna roll with that. I'm not it is what it is. And I hate using that saying because it's such a cliche thing. But let's do this. So I'm gonna read a comment out and I'm gonna reply to it. And this is for DW12 Beats. It says, thank you, you the man. Could you do a video recommending equipment and software at home for mixing and mastering? I'm a beginning producer and struggle with creating mixes that sound good across multiple platforms. Sounds good on cans, but when I hear it in the car, it's like a letdown. Do all producers struggle with this starting out, and how do you overcome it? Is it the audio interface, listening environment, mixing techniques? What gives? All right, so I do understand your dilemma. When one thing sounds good on cans, and then it doesn't sound good in the car. And that's a big challenge. And I think the reason that happens is because your headphones, is what I believe you mean by cans, is that your headphones may color your sound a certain type of way. So if they're very flat, what I mean by flat is that they don't natively boost highs or lows. They're very flat, like the Sony 56. Y'all know those Sony headphones everybody had, right? Those are primarily flat, so they don't have a lot of bass. And when you try to push bass through them, they kind of distort. And so what happens is say if I was starting out, I would really enhance the bass so that I could feel it in the cans or the headphones. But then if I get into a car, it's too much. Or it's like you're compensating for something in your current listening environment. I will always recommend monitors, but I think that if I were to dive deeper into this, I'm thinking you're using headphones because you're in a situation where, one, you don't want other people to hear what you're doing. Two, you're not disturbing anyone, right? You're trying not to disturb anyone. Like for me, when I first started coming out or started making music, my thing was I didn't want to make music or sing too loud because I didn't want my parents to know that I was in the basement making music because, that would trigger them to tell me, hey, it's time to go get some sleep or something like that, time to go to bed. And so if I were to look at your situation and I'm trying to take the layers from it, I think that underneath, I think you're in a situation where you kind of have to keep your production private. You're saying you're starting out and you're a young producer. So to me, that equation means that you might still be at home with your folks and you're in a situation where you want to create and you probably got some stuff to create with, but at the same time, you don't want your folks in your face, hey, turn that down. That's the kind of vibes that I'm getting. And you're saying you're struggling to create mixes that translate very well. Mixing is a rep thing. Mixing, you got to really mix a lot of songs. It's a rep thing, and maybe you haven't got your reps in as far as mixing songs, and it's not fun. It's not a quick process. Getting good at mixing is not a short, really turnkey process. We have a lot of plugins now that help out, and you might want to experiment with some AI things like Lander. It's like a unit that, to try it out, but I would rather you learn the trade. It's almost like this, it's almost like math class. I would rather you say, okay, we know calculators are here, right? But I still want you to be able to do the math without a calculator so that in the case you don't have a calculator, you can still do the math, right? So that's that balancing point. And I think that as you continue to do it, you have to continue doing it. You're just taking your bumps right now and you're getting your battle scars. And it's frustrating. But I think all producers struggle with this at a point, especially starting out, and producers still struggle like that. I'm going to be changing my room around. And one of my struggles is that I'm going to have to get used to how it sounds differently because I had things set such a same way for so long. that I know how everything responds and I know how it translates well. I will always recommend a set of studio monitors to help. If you can get around a studio somewhere, I don't know if you're able to invest in studio time, but I think that's a good opportunity to get into a room that's properly treated to see how that's done, so you can take that experience to yourself. Now, the software I recommend is Studio One. The reason I recommend Studio One is because it's very lightweight on a computer. It's a traditional, it follows what I would call or consider traditional DAW. Examples of a non-traditional DAW to me is like FL Studio or MPC3. You know, some people say, oh, it doesn't do things in the DAW. Well, it's not really your traditional DAW, and I don't think they're doing that. It has seasonings of a DAW, but it is not a full-fledged DAW, and nor do I have the expectation of that. Now, FL Studio can walk and move like a full-fledged DAW, but I would still use what I make in FL Studio and still go and track vocals and record in Studio One because it's more of a traditional DAW format. I just like it. They're really flexible. They're really flexible with different audio interfaces and technology and equipment. They have their own line of audio interfaces, but they will still interface with other ones. Like in my case, I like to use my Apollo with Studio One, right? And that usually works really good. So yeah, listening environment does play a role. If you're doing things primarily on headphones, that does play a role. So you really want to take time to focus on how you can improve that. But I think that's good that you're still doing it with what you have. Always do it with what you have, even if it's not a perfect situation. Yes, you got opportunity to improve your situation by getting a pair of studio monitors if you can, or if you're in a situation where you got to kind of keep things a little private. That's a rep thing because, like, for instance, like I'll make beats on, I got like a pair of Bluetooth Aftershocks, right? And sometimes, don't tell anybody this, but sometimes I can make a beat in let's say the office. Sometimes I'll listen to something if I have a little downtime. I'll make a beat on here, but because I know what things does, I won't hear the whole thing in here, but because I know how certain sounds respond, I know that they'll translate more. That's a rep thing. That's like a muscle. It's a rep. You got to get your reps, mixing reps. Okay, I got to work on that. I am working on that. But you got to get your reps up, and that will help you get in the ballpark. So I hope that helps you. If you got more feedback or more questions, please let me know. The DW123 beats. I appreciate that feedback. Thank you so much for replying to my video. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We got a ton of videos to do. I might do 2 or 3 a day. We're going to ride this all the way home to 100K. That probably will be the thing I do because I know YouTube is sort of a volume thing, but I'm not going to get into that. This video is about helping you. So if you like that, like, comment, subscribe, chime in, let me know what you think. Give me some more feedback, some more things that you need help on, and I hope this helps. You're watching the DAW T2K YouTube channel. I'm Dilio. Peace out. We gone.